The crew worldwide, from Cali to Twitter, real hardcore fans, boxing ass niggas, consistency cops, police the views, we'll pull up receipts for any debate you choose. Shout outs to Clan Archie for the dope production. Ring Gang stay with the best discussions. Ring Gang Radio.
Yeah, what's good, yo? Welcome to another episode of Real Talk, where as always, if shit's real, we talk about it. I'm your host for tonight, Patscorpio, the New England representative. And as always, I got my man with me. I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Ring Gang? Nah. They do. LB, lot of dope boys, Shutterworth, gold artists, Soul Wars.
Yes, sir. Ring Gang in the house. You know what I'm
saying? Yes, sir. Real talk.
So basically, in this podcast, we're going to be talking. We're going to do first. We're going to do a weekend recap. So, basically, if you heard our couple of last podcasts, we referred to this particular slate of fights as like toaster leavings, toaster shavings, all that good stuff. Because frankly, we felt like it. There wasn't a lot of thought. There was a lot of fights, but it wasn't a lot of thought put into it.
Not a lot of good even matchups.
It basically on paper, it didn't. With the exception of one fight, it didn't look all that appealing. And surprisingly, the one fight that was appealing was not appealing to watch. But we'll get into that. The weekend recap, man. So there was a whole bunch of fights. I think the first one was the ESPN Plus card in Japan, where we saw, Robert Brandt versus Ryota Murata on there. That was the main event. And LB, man, I think we were wrong about this fight.
We were. I think we kind of underestimated Murata's, the leveling up he does on his rematches. He always improves, because the Indom fight, which I felt he got robbed the first fucking fight.
Truth be told, I don't understand how or why they gave that to Indom in Japan of all places. I guess
the most reverse hometown decision ever. You thought he pissed off some Yakuza bosses or some shit, and they just
right.
All right, we gonna have you lose a fight, then motherfucker got you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how that shit felt. I was like, wow. But the rematch came, and he was not playing, and then got rid of him in down. Now he comes around this time with Brandt, and the first Brandt fight, he catches an ass whooping. He gets outboxed, outfought. Save for maybe 2 rounds where he looked decent, like he was landing some shots and coming on. Mm-hmm. Man got shut out. Like it was complete undressing. It's one of those it's hard to pick a guy in those type of losses in a rematch.
Right, exactly, because it was so decisive, and it was a beatdown it was a real beatdown. We were thinking that. We were thinking that Brent would just repeat it, and I guess Murata, again, like I said, he leveled up, he rose to the occasion, and basically the first round they came out swinging. And I think that was probably Murata's thing. I guess Murata, lured him in early, just got him confident. And then in the second round, all of a sudden, Brandt started catching them bricks. And it's one thing to catch them bricks and go down, but the one thing that Brandt was not doing was tying up. Like literally, he was walking forward into the line of fire with his hands down. And then the ref was like, I know the ref was like, what the hell is this nigga doing? Like the ref was giving him all types of chances to get his mind right in this fight, and that wasn't happening. And then finally, I think it was like in the last 30 seconds of that round, the second round, he was taking all types of punishment on the ropes, so the ref had to like stop that shit, before something bad happened. So yeah, Murata regains his secondary middleweight title, and again also regains his stature in the division. It was interesting. Most people are calling, should there be a third fight? I would welcome it, but most likely I'm guessing that Top Rank will probably move Murata, into a different direction because I'm pretty sure Robert Brandt would also had learned from that loss too, and might make shit hot for Murata the third time around. But but kudos for Murata for leveling up like he did. I mean, that was a wonderful fight. That was a wonderful fight for me to watch at 7 o'clock in the morning, 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning on a Friday.
That's how you win a rematch. Like the last time I could think something happened like that was with Paul Williams and Carlos Quintana.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, I thought Paul Williams was more competitive than Murata in the decision rounds. Like, I thought Paul Williams got like 4 rounds at least, like, and made the rounds competitive just off of activity and keep going. But Murata got really whooped. So for him to damn turn it around completely, the second fight, to get the early KO, that's like wow. Like, you don't see that every day,
No, you don't.
And that's a special type of resilience. So, kudos to Murata. I don't want to see a third fight just yet. Like, I feel like, Brandt should get like a fight, so he could come back, because it's a knockout loss.
Right.
So he might want to, go against someone on a little lesser value opponent. And, I'm not saying he could get rebuilt like on some Oscar Valdez, but
that's not that
fight. And I think Murata should try to get a bigger fight himself. Like, he got the belt. At middleweight, you got dudes out here. You could lose it. You could lose or look bad any given night at middleweight because it's enough skilled opponents. So, I like to see him in there. Yeah, I called out I mentioned the Golovkin fight before. I wouldn't even mind he'll be a name for Andre as well. So
yeah,
he could make moves. It's time for Murata to get the more higher profile fights. So
right, yeah, no more fighting these random jobbers. Brandt's not really a jobber. He's just someone who who himself rose to the occasion and made himself a name.
Because he let like a friend contender, make a name for himself. So it's like, wow, run that again. Like, okay, you got it back, you won. If Murata steps up and has a bigger fight and loses, the Brandt rematch is always there. Because Brandt's got something to prove because he got KO'd.
Exactly.
So to me, like, you could say this 1-1. But me, honestly, if I'm the guy that lost the fight by KO, I'm going to feel like I want to run it back more than the guy who, got his ass whooped in the decision.
Facts.
It runs it back, but knocks the hell out of the dude, stops the dude early. If I do that, I'm like, shit, all right, I'm good.
There you go. Oh, man. And then also, too, we had probably the biggest farce of that particular weekend that happens in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. And I know, LB, you probably didn't watch any of this, or you may have watched a highlight.
You talking about the Khan Billy Dib fight? Yeah, I saw the little.
Yeah, basically this shit. How could I explain it? It was struggle. Like, first of all, they had Prince Patel in there. Prince Patel had gotten a lot of hype lately. He also has a high ranking with I think 2 or 3 of the sanctioning bodies. So he was possibly being fast tracked towards a bantamweight title shot soon, and then he proceeds to get thumped for 12 rounds. Which is embarrassing. Which pretty much means whatever title shot that was coming his way, it's gonna have to be postponed for a little bit. And then we have a horrid match between Huey Fury and Sam Peter, which was just Sam Peter that's my brethren, you know, whatever, and my baby old brethren. He's fallen so far from anything you consider his prime. It's scary and it's sad to watch. And yet Fury had a hard time hurting this guy, or even keeping him off there. So, and then this fight ended in basically a quote unquote injury stoppage to Sam Peter about his shoulder. And then we have Conan Dib, who Dib would later remark on his social media, "I can't believe I fought a welterweight." We can't believe it either, fucking Billy Dib. We can't believe it either. Khan basically looked, you know, how he looked obviously when faced with a mismatch. He destroyed Dib and got him out of there in 4 rounds. He got some sort of belt and some sort of ranking for what I don't understand. But that card. Jobber belt. So pretty much, like I said, if you haven't seen the card and you just heard me talk about it, don't even bother. Don't even look at the damn highlights. It was that much of a disgrace. It was an absolute disgrace.
Bullying a featherweight.
Exactly. And then now we get to Saturday, starting with ESPN. We had the British card. We had first Georgios versus Brian Jennings, and this was a fight that we were anticipating because Georgios was facing someone who is pretty skilled and who could possibly expose his limitations to a certain degree.
Right.
That fight was not the most exciting fight in the world. In fact, it was sad to me that Brian Jennings, who physically looks fine, he's 225, was just as slow hand speed wise as Joe Joyce, which I couldn't believe. And Joe Joyce obviously just walked, with the exception of a body shot, pretty much walked through a lot of the shots that were thrown his way. And Brian Jennings, really, his offense has gotten to the point where it's he's kind of lost the offensive identity. I just don't know if it's just age or style.
I think he lost his spark.
Yeah,
he lost his spark. Like that fire you have in your eye.
Yeah.
That competitive spirit, that soul. It's like it's been gone from Jennings for a while. Like maybe he was from the Ortiz fight, but I noticed from that loss, it's like he really can't get it going offensively like that, like he used to.
Right.
Kind of tries to play keep away a little too much when he's always been a guy who's more built to grind you down and come forward and box and beat you up. And it's like seeing him move away is like when you see Lamont Peterson try to back foot box and move around, and you're like, damn. Because when Peterson comes forward and puts that guard up, he mean business, and then, getting some hands. But when you see him start moving around and shit, and you're like, and Peterson can box on his back foot, don't get me wrong, but he loses more fights that way than he wins them.
Right.
And he's nicer with it than a guy like Brian Jennings. But still, Brian Jennings, like, I think the spark gone. Like, and Joyce wanted to really send a message. He needed to stop Jennings.
Yeah, he did. But he got extended too because he himself he's not at that point where he didn't have a second gear or third gear. Like once he couldn't get him out of there, the way he usually does with people, it's just like more or less he stayed at that gear and allowed Jennings to go the distance.
I've never been impressed with Joyce like that. I still. He just still looks so stiff and robotic and super slow.
Right.
I just more power to him. If he develops more and becomes a force in the division, hey, I'm all for it. But wait, just looking at it, I don't really see it. But hey, we could be wrong. Shit, I don't care. Shit. It happens.
Yeah.
We was wrong about the Murata rematch. And It makes the sport even better sometimes when you're wrong.
Pure facts.
It's all good. The fight the one fight that was good was was it Dubois? Who?
It was
I think
Dubois.
it was the main event.
Yeah, it was main event Dubois and Nathan Gorman. You know, and yeah, that fight was excellent actually. But one thing that I was also kind of wrong about was Gorman. I thought Gorman, because based off his training videos, was like, okay, this dude can go get some work, and he ended up getting work, but not in the way that I thought he would. You know, Dubois
not competitive like that. Like he landed a few good shots, but like for the most part, he took a beating.
Yeah, he took an ass whooping, and then in 5 rounds, But hey, it made for good TV, And of course, like I said, ESPN Plus, because ESPN Plus, has not been representing well this year. So it was good to have a good card of action like that on there. Yeah. But with that main event, and then of course we'll go to the card that I was at, Newark, New Jersey, ESPN in Prudential Center. I will say this though, this card, the undercard, both on televised undercard, and the televised undercard that was before the main card, was full of fades. Those fighters were hungry. They were not fucking around. Like there was some brutal knockouts, there was some brutal fights in there. Like this shit was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful to be in the house for that. And Newark fans are very passionate about, they were very passionate about their boxing, surprisingly. With that being said, they had the one fight that kind of killed the buzz with Joshua Greer, Don't Blank versus Nikolai Potapov. This fight, the crowd ripped this fight at many different times. Doing I don't know how it came across on the TV, but there was some booing going on, like some loud, audible booing. They were not showing Greer any type of love. And with that being said, Greer didn't look good at all. He did not. He looked basically like he was stuck in one gear, and then he couldn't. And then he just fought harder when he couldn't think his way. Potapov actually, I think, controlled and won most of the rounds, and I do think it was probably a clear victory for him, clear but close victory. But unfortunately, it was not to be. Greer would win this fight. And I think Greer kind of he played, he basically turned heel, said what he had to say on the mic, and then he got up out of there. But that fight I think brought down the mood of the crowd. But then immediately, of course, the crowd perked up when Shakur Stevenson came in the ring against Guevara. And it was as one-sided as you thought it would get because of two official opponents dropping out. So it's that's a problem. that's a huge problem, and I know that during the whole media stuff, it was mentioned over and over again. I know. If you watch our video, Tim Bradley, was very passionate about that. He mentioned that there too. If you ever want to see Tim Bradley's comments on that, go to our YouTube there. He gave me some good footage, almost 8-minute footage, talking randomly about things, including that.
Just to reiterate, great interview. Yeah. Bradley's a Hall of Famer, no doubt. Good insight. He doubled down on his Keith Thurman and Pacquiao prediction. Of course, Stevenson, and he spoke on the Greer fight as well. Excellent interview. Y'all go check it out. Ringgangradio.com. Yes.
yes. And of course, Stevenson, when he came out, Stevenson made beat down Guevara. Guevara didn't even really want to fight. He was trying not to engage. But he got beat down and whatever, and then the crowd at least was happy, at least, because they want to see the hometown boy win. So overall it was a good night, and I'd say this as a travel tip for anyone who travels to Newark: keep your head on a swivel. Me, like, luckily for me, I'm a big guy, and I'm very capable of taking care of myself. So like I said, newer people, some people don't. Some people are what you call habitual line steppers. Word to Charlie Murphy. And especially near all the stations. So you gotta be careful. Like if you like me and we'll go there for a fight at Prudential Center or whatever. Just like I say, just keep your head on the swivel and keep small talk, and don't ever take your wallet out or try to flash it to these, because the wolves are out there, man. They hungry in Newark. That's just my little childhood tip. Don't mean to scare you though. Like I said, you can go to Newark and have a good time, but you gotta watch your P's and Q's. You know what I mean?
Being the size of Thanos helps. Like Pat. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, of course, they'll be like, okay, I better be careful. But of course,
throw me over 5 cars. I don't know. I mean, it's 3 of us, but one of us might go into the wall, though. Next. Man, but I gotta say this. Shakur Stevenson is definitely on the path to superstardom. Articulate. He got that hometown love. He puts on solid performances for the most part. He's always getting interviewed. He can speak well. Good skills, good foundation. They trying to give him better opponents. It is what it is, but if I like to see him step it up one more time before he gets a title shot. But him and Josh Warrington will definitely be a good fight. But you just, you want to make sure a guy is seasoned enough just to make sure, before you throw him in there against a guy like Warrington.
Word.
But if that fight was to happen next, wow, that'd be a tough one, man. That's all I gotta say, because Stevenson's no joke and Warrington is no joke. So
yep, both facts, and I'm sure it'll be a great fight for sure.
Yeah,
and then also too, like I said, there was a lot of cards. We had the DAZN card. Again, the DAZN card was full of fades. One particular fade, LB, if you want to go touch upon that particular fade.
Let me see. Was it I think the Rocky Hernandez, the first fight?
Yep.
Man, like that shit came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
that was a good like eye opener to wake your ass up type of let's start this card right KO.
Yeah, because Rocky Hernandez was also fast track. He was probably on his way to getting a shot at a super featherweight title, and then he gets KO'd and he KO'd and won by Roger Gutierrez. Brutally, yeah.
It was some Trevor Burbick type shit, like the whole fall down, get up, fall down again type shit. The ref is like, yo, you done.
Yeah, you gotta stand up and get ready to fight this nigga, or the shit is over. He could barely do that.
Yeah, so that's definitely on the list for KO of the year. Like it belongs somewhere on the list. I'm sorry, it just that shit was nasty.
Yeah, it was.
And the suddenness of it, and just the whole after effects with him falling all over the place. Yeah, definitely. There's been a lot of good KOs this year. That one's definitely one of the top ones.
Yep. And then another KO that happened on this card, although it's not really a KO of the year type of thing, but more like it's an upset in a way, although it shouldn't be. Where you see Diego De La Hoya, who is the cousin of Oscar De La Hoya. He faced, tough Mexican veteran, I think he's Mexican, Ronnie Rios. And Diego De La Hoya gets KO'd for the first time with a body shot. So I mean, that's probably gonna be. I mean, you could probably call it a minor upset. It wasn't. I don't think it was major to me, but it's significant because
not a minor upset. Because I mean, De La Hoya, he got the machine behind him and everything. We looking for him to keep going. Ronnie, we knew was solid and a good fighter, and you knew he was gonna test him.
Mm-hmm.
And he was testing, because this is the thing. De La Hoya didn't lay down, in the beginning of the fight. Like, he got the fight kind of beaten out of him, because they was both landing and rocking the fuck out of each other back and forth. Like, I think Sergio Mora said it early, like that was gonna be the fight of the night, and he called that one. He was right on that shit. Like that was the fight of the night on that card. But hopefully,
for sure.
De La Hoya, he rebounds from this. Same thing with Rocky Hernandez. Like, I mean, Golden Boy seemed to take a hit that night.
Yeah, they did.
Like no cap, but fucking Golden Boy seen better days. Like Munguia. Like, I'm just looking back. Like, Munguia got that super gift earlier in the year. Like, man, like that honestly that would have been the upset of the year, really.
Word.
That would have been the upset of the year if that happened. But anyways, you got that. Canelo,
and then you have,
on some
well, unfortunately, Ray Vargas, and Tomoki Kamita did not have the type of fight that we all envisioned in our head.
That too. Damn.
It was a pretty bad fight. It wasn't good at all. It was not mincing words. It was just a pretty bad fight. Vargas was,
it started out decent, bro. It started out decent. Like, maybe the first 4 rounds, I was into it. And then when Vargas started moving around, and when Kamita couldn't really adjust and get those overhands landing again like that, fight just kind of lost its oomph and kind of turned into like an Andre fight. Like, starts out good, and then you just don't care about it at the end.
Yeah, that's how, and then the Mexicans in the crowd didn't care for it much either, because they booed him for that. Because they were just like, "What the fuck are you doing?" But that fight was
Peter though. Like, jeez.
Yeah, that fight was a huge disappointment. That was like I said, that was the one fight that I said on paper originally that was actually going to be good.
Yeah, and you know what? And what we say on the boxing theater of the unexpected.
Yep.
The one fight we're totally wrong. We said like, oh man, Toaster leaving, Murata. I don't know. He gonna come back from this completely 360, like a whole different outcome. We up here like, damn, Vargas Kamita, like, this shit gonna be hot. Like, yeah, they gonna go at it. What happens? We got a good 4 rounds, and then fade to Bolivia type match afterwards.
Pretty much. It was disappointing. It was highly disappointing.
Especially since it was the main event, because before that you had like 3 good fights and 2 KOs.
Yeah.
So that's like,
I don't know where it went wrong, where it went horribly wrong. But Ray Vargas better fix that shit immediately. Well, I mean, he has a Mando coming up anyways, and the Mando is Rigo. So
that might be struggle the way Rigo looked last time. Wow.
Well, I mean, Rigo looked like he looked friendly, even though he was catching more shots than I've ever seen him actually get hit with, ever. Yeah,
dude was setting punch stat records on his ass.
Yeah. Oh man, but
and let's not fucking forget that damn bullshit ass stoppage either in the Rigo fight.
Yeah, exactly.
The bailout, yeah. So that's why a part of me is like, man, like If we just had a little sour bite to end the meal with the zone card with Ray Vargas, then setting up a fight with Riggin Dial, who pretty much the ref had to gift wrap that one because he's like, damn, this kid might get up and beat this old nigga ass. Like, hold on, yeah, you're not good. You done. So I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, shit, we could be wrong.
Exactly. And then, it brings us to our last and final card of the night, the PBC card, the FS1. Now, there was one fight I did not see on this. I don't know what aired, and that's the main event. However, which is Jamal James versus Antonio DeMarco. However, I did happen to catch Robert Helenius versus Gerald Washington. And with that, we saw Gerald Washington probably score another KO of the year candidate. In a fight that he was possibly losing too. Because Gerald Washington, I mean, it's very rare that you actually see. I don't think people can even remember when they've actually seen him win last on TV. And he's been
or throw a real meaningful punch besides a jab.
Right.
And that knockout punch was like the punch that is like the type of punch you wanted to see a big guy like him throw more often in his career.
Right.
That's the thing. Like if he would have let that hand go, throw it like that more often, he'd probably be in a different space right now.
Facts.
Yeah. Could have probably the damn if he had that for Wilder, that shit would have probably helped him out in that fight because he was boxing Wilder's head off for like 4 rounds.
Also facts.
So it's just that's why when you box out there, you gotta develop both sides: the jab, the right hand, or the jab, the left hand. If you southpaw, you can't just be a one-handed fighter.
Right.
Put all that shit together. And I'm glad it did because now it lengthens his career a bit. Now expect Gerald Washington to get another fight, on the undercard or some shit.
Right. And then of course we saw Charles Martin stop somebody, Daniel Marks, with a body shot. Nothing really, other than he dominated that fight up to the knockout. And then we had Jamal James versus Antonio DeMarco, which I've heard reviews about it. People were saying that it was excellent. And unfortunately, I did not miss that fight. I missed that fight. So I will have to catch it. But usually but I was getting these comments from people that I actually I trust and respect their opinion on. So if they say Jamal James and Antonio DeMarco was almost a near fight of the year candidate, well, that's what it is to me, and I will try my power to actually.
Fight of the year. I didn't even hear that. I heard it was a good fight, but
it was a good ass scrap. Really,
damn.
Yeah, I mean that's
the highlights are good. Niggas is really throwing in that shit. So I'm thinking like, damn, is Antonio DeMarco capable of a scrap like that at this stage?
And the answer seems to be yes.
I won't take it.
So yeah, I will definitely be checking that out at some point this week. Hopefully, that PBC will post it on the website or on the YouTube channel.
Hey, the irony of this is like the dude who had his best career performance off of him, had a loss earlier this year. Didn't look nowhere as good or memorable as DeMarco. You already know who I'm talking about.
Yep.
Shit crazy how it's like they damn near both at the same fucking spot.
Yep.
But man, and this is the thing, man. When you go out on your field and you go out hard, it's like you'll stay in people's minds. You stay on cards. You stay on TV. So Antonio DeMarco, I know he's getting up there, but if he's still putting on good shows, good performances, and testing these young guys, doing this thing, hey, I'm all for it. It's just when a guy start losing his step and he taking more than he dishing out, then it's like, okay. But if he's still capable, shit, keep do what it do.
Also facts. So yeah, I mean that is basically our weekend wrap up. It looks like there's so much. There was lots of fights in there. Like I said, eventually, there's so much you couldn't get to all of them. But yeah, I mean, trying to be more than toaster leavings in some aspects.
Yeah, I mean, we may have been a little premature, but you know what it is. What it is, like, yeah, y'all know how it is. Shit could be looking appetizing, then you take you sample it, and it's like, I don't know. Then sometimes something doesn't look appetizing. You sample it, it's like, oh, this got some flavor. Like, sometimes the toaster leavings got, you had some bagels in that toaster. You had some bigger shit, so the little leave-ins a little bigger, and they surprise you. I mean, like, it ain't, y'all niggas got lucky this time. it don't always be like that.
Word.
Niggas try to be like, cause fuck that. If somebody hear this shit and this would be the one that niggas make sure everybody hear, and it's like, damn, hold on. These niggas is kind of fucked with that toaster leave-ins card. Yeah, no slim pickings where everybody just throw some bullshit on for 2 days. Yeah, niggas gonna be doing that shit more often. So nah, I ain't gonna just. Y'all ain't out the woods yet.
Yeah.
And I tend not to even throw luck in boxing like that. But yeah, y'all got lucky.
Yeah, real talk. Absolute real talk. So yeah, that was our weekend recap.